Picture this. Dawn breaks on July 12th, and Washington drops a 35% tariff hammer on every load of Canadian softwood crossing the border. Before the coffee is cold, Ontario throws the lever and starts choking off the 2x4 lifeline that frames nearly a third of America's new houses. Industry trackers at ResourceWise warn the sudden gap 28 million cubic meters a year could add roughly 10 grand to the price of a single-family home and push builders into a supply squeeze they haven't felt since WWII. But that opening shot is only the first move in a trade war chess game big enough to rewrite the North American economy before your next mortgage payment clears. Stick around, because every plank of lumber is about to become a bargaining chip. Fast forward to August 19th, 2024. Still stinging from the tariff wall, the US Commerce Department nearly doubles its lumber duty to 54% for most exporters, a move Ottawa brands punitive and lightning fast. Canadian mills blink, then dig in. By April 2025, analysts warn the pipeline that once pumped 30% of America's studs and joists is down to a trickle. NAHB says the squeeze alone is slapping another $7,500 to $10,000 onto median builds right as mortgage rates hover near 7%. Sticker shock is Phase 1. Phase 2 is structural. July 16, 2025. Reuters leaks Ottawa's counterpunch, a formal export quota floated by British Columbia's Premier David Eby. Translation? Canada keeps jobs at home, US buyers fight for leftovers. If the cap locks in, American importers lose the equivalent of 16 Empire State Buildings of lumber every single month. Alternatives? Germany and Sweden together shipped barely 5 million cubic meters last year, and with transatlantic freight and longer lead times, those boards land late and pricey. Domestic sawmills, red tape, wildfire scars, and labour gaps mean they can't ramp fast enough. Futures already pierced $650 per 1,000 board feet in March. Traders whisper $765 if quotas bite. Meanwhile, Washington toys with a blanket 25% duty on all Canadian goods, timber included. Fast Market says even a short-lived levy would ripple through the entire forest products chain on both sides of the 49th parallel. Ottawa sees leverage and, more importantly, options. Once the CPTPP is fully phased in, Canadian forest products enter 11 Pacific partners at zero tariff. Tokyo, Sydney and Singapore can pay market price while US builders eat a 25% surcharge. Mills are being nudged toward higher margin exports-engineered panels, prefab walls, sleek cabinetry that slip into Asia duty-free under both CPTPP and CETA. In other words, America picked a fight over raw studs. Canada is ready to sell finished skyscrapers. And lumber is only the first domino. That same 35% wall rolls straight into steel mills and soy fields, driving overall duties to heights the USA hasn't seen in a generation. Yale's budget lab warns the barrage could shave 45% off real GDP, about $135 billion a year, in perpetuity. Household budgets take the hit next. They project an extra 1% jump in consumer prices, draining nearly $2,800 from the average family, even if the Fed sits on its hands. Groceries climb because tariffs blanket fertilizer and tractor parts. Pickups jump $1,200 apiece thanks to hot-rolled steel duties. Builders already bracing for soaring lumber must now pay more for the rebar under highways Congress just funded. The backlash is visible at the border. Customs logs show traffic at Niagara's Rainbow Bridge plunged this past spring. Erie County's sales tax haul is suddenly 7% light, a $9 million hole that local officials blame on missing Canadian shoppers. Outlet malls post double-digit foot traffic drops. Roadside diners close 2 hours early because the dinner rush never arrives. A Dunnhumby survey finds 71% of Canadians plan to buy fewer US groceries this year, an emotion-driven boycott that cuts deeper than any tariff. Washington can't command cross-border shoppers with an executive order, and Ottawa knows it. So here's the fork in the road. Scenario 1. The White House doubles down. Tariffs on cars rise to 25%, and Yale economists say the average sedan sticker rockets by $6,400 on top of lumber, steel, and grocery surcharges already wobbling household budgets like a Jenga tower. Scenario 2. Washington blinks, trims duties to 15%, claims a diplomatic win, and risks being labelled soft during an election built on toughness. Either way, the clock is ticking. Fed models show housing starts trail interest rate cuts by 6 months, delay a truce until winter, and the 2026 building season could open with plywood at record highs and showroom floors stuffed with unsold pickups. Canada feels the pain too. Budget lab pegs. Ottawa's long-run GDP hit at 1% a slow bleed the capital can't ignore, but officials frame it as an expensive decoupling fee that buys wider global reach. Asia's tariff-free demand beckons. Finished wood products fetch higher margins, and domestic green construction grants keep mills humming north of the border. The longer the standoff drags, the more every nail driven in Toronto looks like a vote against building anything in Toledo. So where does that leave us? $10,000 extra on a starter home. $6,000 tacked onto a mid-sized sedan. Milk, rebar, and breakfast cereal all inching higher while border bridges echo and GDP projections shrink. One side sees leverage, the other sees voters. Hold the line, and prices could spiral. Cut a deal, and critics cry appeasement. Markets hate a vacuum, and panic rarely writes good policy. What do you think? Will Washington ratchet up the pressure to bring jobs home, or hash out a face-saving compromise before the construction season grinds to dust? Drop your take in the comments and smash that subscribe button, because the next twist in this lumber showdown might drop before your own 2x4s even ship.